When we start?
It's rolling.
It's rolling.
Oh.
All right.
All right.
Well, welcome, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being the guest in our very first podcast, episode number 1.
Yeah, I'm happy to help you kick things off. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And doesn't hurt that you're just next door as well.
Yeah, that does help. Don't have to cover the travel costs.
No,
That's
exactly.
Good. That's good.
So, mate, for those of you who don't know you, right? Do you want to tell the audience a little bit about yourself and your backstory a little bit?
Sure thing. So I'm a professional squash player from Brisbane. My name is Caleb Johnson. I'm originally from a small town called Warwick. It has about 15,000 people. When I was age of 14, I got into playing squash and I just fell in love with it. I've been playing for about 12 years now, so I'm 26. I'm a professional. I'm about 409 in the world currently, so I'm just inside Australia's top 20. I also am a squash coach. So I teach others, from people from 5 years old to 85 years old, how to play squash as well, and that's how I support myself to play the pro circuit.
I mean, that's how we met. You know, I was looking for a squash coach.
Yep.
And then Googled you, came into contact, and that's how we met. And then we ended up being neighbors.
Yep, that's right.
No, so that's interesting. So you started playing squash at 14.
Correct.
And I guess what made you decide to turn pro? You like you said, you fell in love with it. Yeah.
Yep.
What was a tipping point for you where you went, I'm going to go all in, I want to become a professional squash. This is where I want to dedicate the rest of my life to, you know?
Yeah. So I'd tried other sports when I was younger. I tried soccer, I tried tennis, a few things. There was just something about squash, the speed of it, and just that you could play it at any time because it's indoors, and you could train by yourself as well. So I didn't necessarily need a hitting partner or anything to train. In Warwick, as I said, only 15,000 people, so it's hard to always find people to train with, coaches, things like that. So I found myself just going down and playing by myself a lot, just hitting the ball against the wall. We call that solo practice in squash. And I just found it was a very meditative kind of practice to hit the ball against the wall, to track the small ball. It was a very good release of stress to hit the ball hard against the wall. And I just found that helped the rest of my life. I found like I was less stressed. I could sleep better. I had more energy. All because I was chasing this ball around. You know, I was doing something that was fun and that was good for me. So I just really liked the impact that it had made on my life, and that it would reinforce good behaviors, because I found, you know, if I want to play well tomorrow, I need to get an early night. You know, if I want to play well tonight, I need to have a light meal. I need to eat something healthy. So just being involved in the game and having to perform makes you a healthier person, I would say. And that's what really drew me to the game and made me want to play and continue. Not so much to chase glory or chase numbers or rankings or anything like that. It just promotes a healthy lifestyle. And that's a very addicting thing.
Yeah, I mean, far out. Like, you're so passionate about the sport. And like, it was funny. I remember the conversations when we first started where you said, there's not much glory in squash, right? There's not much money in the sport. You said it was in terms of sports that make a lot of money for the players, right? Or player earnings. Squash was one below food eating championships?
Yeah, professional eating.
Professional eating,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So,
it was, this was a while ago, and I was looking up, and it was just one sort of study, and they were taking out the average salaries of
squash players,
different athletes. And up the top you had baseball and soccer and NFL and, you know, all those big sports, and then I go down the list and I keep going. Oh, I finally find squash. And then the one above that was professional eating. And I thought, I'm dropping the squash racket. I just pick up some hot dogs and start doing that. I'll earn more money. You know, but it's not what it's about, right? It was never the money.
You just love it. You just absolutely love it.
Exactly. Not only do I love it, but I love the impact that it has on my life.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. And so you have the physical aspects, but you also, talk about the mental and emotional side. And you said even more present, so the spiritual side of the game as well.
Yes, absolutely. It's very interesting because you look at sports like swimming, for example, and that will be one side of the spectrum, and that's just power, go. You know, there's not a lot of decision making. You just have to go really fast to one point and then really fast backwards. Then you have sports like chess, which there's no physical element and it's all decision making, right? It's just next move, next move. And then there's squash, which is in the middle, right? Because there's so much decision making, rapid decision making, but it's also really, really physical and puts stresses on the body. Up there with sports like rowing, you know, those intensely physical sports, but it encaptures the decision making that something like chess would.
Yeah.
So that's why it's not just good for the body, but it's good for the brain as well.
Yeah, it keeps you young, fit, but also keeps your mind sharp.
Exactly.
Yeah. And mate, it is a workout. 10 minutes in the court with you, I'm dead. I'm fucked.
That's right.
It is a workout.
Right. Yeah.
So just throwing it out there. So it's a racket sport, yeah.
Yep.
And you love the sport, but it's not paying you well, right? It doesn't pay you much, right? Competitions and all of that. That's why you have to coach.
Yep.
But have you ever thought of doing tennis, for example? Because that's there's so much money, fame, glory in tennis, yeah.
Yeah.
So
No,
has that thought ever crossed your mind and go? You can probably transfer so much skills from squash to tennis.
Yeah. It's definitely crossed my mind, and my mum always wanted me to be a tennis player, and she prefers tennis, So it's definitely crossed my mind, and especially nowadays, there's a lot of hybrid racket sports coming out: pickleball, beach tennis, padel. And none of them are as aerobically difficult as squash is, right? So it's of course tempting to switch, and I have tried a few of these other sports, and I do really enjoy tennis. It's nice being outside, everything like that. But there's something about squash, and that's what I'm going to explain to you, is that it's like nothing else, right?
Yeah.
In terms of how consistent it is, right? And how you get into a real flow when you play the game. And to help explain that, you have to understand a sport like tennis is great, but it's not very consistent. It doesn't have much of a flow. And that's because the ball isn't in play for as much as it is in a game like squash. In tennis, there's a lot of faults. There's a lot of adjusting the shorts, getting the towel, changing ends, things like that. There's a lot of stoppages. And so the ball in a tennis match is only in play 17% of the time.
Gotcha.
Right? Whereas in a squash match, it's in play 49% of the time.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
Significantly high, more than double the amount of play. So that's why I like squash, is because it's very, very consistent. And you'll go to squash for an hour, and half an hour of that, the ball is constantly in motion. Whereas you go tennis for an hour, and you're lucky to get 10, 15 minutes of time where the ball's actually in play.
Gotcha.
Right? So it's much easier to get into that kind of flow state and into a nice rhythm, and just get value for your time as well.
Yeah. No, it's very intense. It is. It is a rapid, fast-paced sport, and that's why I keep coming back.
Yes.
Even though I'm absolutely shit at it, I keep coming back.
I know, it's not like anything else. It's different.
It's unique.
Yeah.
It's unique, and there's not many. I guess it's not very popular, but there's also not many players like socially to that is aware of the sport.
Correct.
Right, so it's a bit tough in that sense where you go, I'm playing squash, and you can't find other people to play squash with.
Yes.
But once you're in the squash circle, then
Yes.
you mingle there, and you can join the socials and stuff like that. But it's not a very popular sport, and that's the only tricky part.
Yep.
But I think if more people discover the sport and discover how beneficial it is, again, like you said, in all these aspects, but and what a workout in such a short amount of time. And it's fun. You're getting a workout, but it's actually also fun hitting the ball, just whacking it as hard as you can, right? And scoring a point against your coach.
Yep. It's a good feeling.
Even if you get one every 50.
Yep.
It's a good feeling. It's a good sport.
Yeah. Talking more about something that separates it from other sports, not just other sports, but other racket sports, is that there's no net in squash.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So tennis, table tennis, badminton, pickleball, padel, doesn't matter what racket sport you're talking about, there's a net that's separating the opponents, right? This isn't the case for squash. You actually share the same space, the same area. And what I've seen as a result of that is that children, adults, people who play together are much more likely to forge relationships.
Okay.
Because you're right next to each other the whole time. Whereas tennis, you're separated. You're on the other side from the person. So I see it with the kids. They make friends very easily. I see it with the adults.
Is that how we became friends that quickly? Because of no net?
Right? Exactly. No net separation. That's what I mean.
It wasn't the talk of the psychedelics. It was the talk because there's no net.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
Yes.
That's
yes.
actually, I don't think many people would take that concept away from squash and say you actually have better relationships because of, it feels, I guess, less competitive in that
Yes.
sense. Although it's very competitive, it feels less because it's you and that person against the wall, or you and that person challenging each other, seeing who's better, challenging themselves.
Yeah,
something along those
it's
lines.
not that it's less competitive, right? Squash is just as competitive as tennis.
absolutely, yeah.
It's just more close. It's close in terms of distance, right?
Yeah.
And just being a less distance away from your opponent just makes it easier to form a relationship, right? Just that simple fact, right? They're closer, they're easier to talk to. After you play a point, you can make a remark, a nice shot, whatever, and you can hear them very easily. Whereas when you play tennis, there's just so much more distance between you two, right? So, and that's what I've experienced. And that is the best thing about squash, is how easy it is to form relationships with others. I go to Malaysia, I go to Philippines, doesn't matter where I go, I get in with the squash community and I have an inbuilt group of friends, right? And as you said, it can be difficult to find that squash center because it's not the most popular sport. But once you do, the camaraderie is always there.
It's very niche.
That's right.
But once you're in, you're in. Yeah.
Exactly.
Epic. And when did you transition to becoming a coach?
Yeah, so I was about 18 years old, and I was the #1 junior in Australia at the time. And I just got an offer from a friend. He was saying, I coach at this country club, but I'm actually heading overseas shortly. So would you like my clients? Would you like to coach them for me? Because I'm leaving them without a coach. And I was like, I'm not really a coach. I'm more of just a player, but sure, I'll give it a go. And I did it. And it was just a very enjoyable experience. I found that, coaching the kids and coaching adults, and you see all walks of life coming into squash. Like there was a 72-year-old lawyer who came, and he was one of my first clients, and just seeing him enjoy the game and get so much out of it, even at that age, was incredible. And that's what I love. Yeah.
Oh, epic. And so when did you become 18? Is when you first started coaching?
That's correct. Yeah.
Excellent. Because to be honest, I was super impressed when I met you the first time, right? When you said we met when you were like 2 years ago, probably now, yeah?
Yep.
So you were 24. I was honestly super impressed, not at the level of your knowledge and how you were coaching, but just your maturity level. Yeah, and I was blown away. I'm like, this young 24 kid had so much skill, and so even the soft skills, the technical skills, the maturity level, always supporting and encouraging that, able to deal with people from different age groups, different skill levels. I was blown away by that, and your dedication and your passion. So I just kept coming back. But for a young guy with that level of maturity, the skill set, but also the emotional maturity and the conversations we had, I thought that was, quite impressive. More than I've met other coaches in other sports and other industries. I just felt that you were well above your years.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. To be fair, it's easy to have those conversations and form those connections when you have a nice, safe space, right?
Yeah.
When you pull someone onto the court, you make them sweat, you make them laugh, they're having fun.
Yeah. And you're good
alone.
At that. You're very good at that. Yeah.
It just makes people want to share things with you and be authentic with you. So, thank you. I appreciate the compliment. It's also helped along by the environment of squash. It definitely lends itself to being able to make better connections. So, yeah.
But even it was amazing experience, and that's why until now, even though I don't see much progress in my game, I still enjoy our weekly sessions. But you had also just really good structure in place. Every week was different. You had it all prepared. It was not half-assed, so to speak. So it was pretty good. So I guess for the people who haven't met a professional athlete before, right? So you're ranked in Australia, you're world ranked. How does a day in the life of Caleb Johnson look like?
It's a good question. So maybe we could start with diet.
Sure.
Get that out of the way.
Yeah.
So over the years, I've obviously done a lot of research on how to best fuel my body. And I've tried many different things. I've tried plant-based, I've tried animal-based, I've tried many different things. And the conclusion I came to is that obviously everyone needs different things in their diet. You know, some people need more meat, some people need to be more plant-based. Everyone's different. For me, I start with, in the morning, I'll have some seeded loaf. So it's like a gluten-free kind of bread and a few eggs. And I'll have some fruit. So that's me in the morning. And then I'll have a fruit juice as well, maybe like orange juice, something like that. For lunch, I'll have some type of steak, right? Good quality steak, well sourced, and either a few vegetables or some more fruit. And then for dinner, I'll have something like dal, like lentils, something like that, and rice and some more vegetables. And in between these meals, I'll have some liver supplements. I take some liver capsules. It's good for vitamin absorption. And I'll have some more fruit juices like watermelon juice or something like that. So yeah, my whole day, it's basically like a few plant-based items, fruit, and good quality meat and fruit juice. Yeah. That's the staple. And then a few like breads and rice.
Yeah.
So that's it for the diet side of things. As for the activity side of things, I generally, my average is about 22,000 steps a day.
Wow, that's your average?
That's my average, yes.
Wow, okay.
So generally, you know, a lot of days there'll be 25,000 steps or more. And every day is different, right? I work with clients, so some people do one lesson one week and they do it at a different time the next week. So my schedule isn't fixed week to week. But generally, in the mornings, there'll be some type of training, squash training, followed by gym work and then a light sauna. That's generally how I structure the morning. It's squash, gym, sauna, and a little bit of stretching as well. And then in the afternoons, I'll generally do some coaching, work with some clients. And then after coaching, I'll do a solo practice of my own. So I'll just do some movement work, hitting of the ball, working on a few things by myself. And that's how a general day would be structured. 1 or 2 squash sessions, 1 gym session, and some stretching.
Yeah.
That's generally about the volume that I can handle.
Yeah, so it's pretty much you training and you coaching. So everything's squash related. Yeah, that's how, yeah. Because I have to say, I admire, for someone your age, and I've said this to you many times, I admire discipline, right? You're very disciplined with your diet, with what goes in your body. You're very disciplined with your workout routines, with, you know, your extracurriculars like your saunas and all of those things. You have it structured such a way because you go, I'm a professional athlete.
Yes.
You know, these are my goals, and we'll get to goals later on, and this is what I want to achieve. So I need to do X, Y, and Z. I haven't seen you really falter here and that. Like, you don't drink alcohol as well?
Yeah, right? On occasion.
On occasion, I think, you know, after we met, probably.
Yeah,
and then now, you know, now you drink more than me, I think.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's right. You got me into it.
But you're fairly disciplined in that sense, right? You sleep quite early as well. You get up quite early.
Yep.
You're also trying to be a yoga teacher. You fell in love with that movement side of things, yeah?
Correct.
So you're doing your yoga teacher training?
I am doing my yoga teacher training in about 2 months.
Well, in India, you said?
In India, correct.
Cool.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So, and even, I think, even before when we started, we were doing 1 PT session on mobility and everything, and then 1 squash session as well, right? So there's a lot of things I find that you're very disciplined for someone your age, which is incredible. Like me at 24, 25, 26, I was just mucking around. I didn't know how to tie my shoelace. I was just floundering around, you know?
Yep.
I didn't have nowhere as much discipline or focus or commitment as you do at your age. So I commend you on that, because that's what's going to get you far.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. No, it's good you brought it up. And the thing is about squash, and a lot of sports have this saying, but you don't play squash to get fit. You get fit to play squash.
You get fit to play squash.
Exactly,
okay.
right?
Okay.
And to explain that saying in a bit more detail, it means that if you just jump into something that's quite high intensity and very difficult like squash without any prior training, there's a high chance that you'll get injured.
Gotcha.
Right? Because you don't have the strength base to be able to handle it, right? However, if you do train well and you are a fit person, then playing squash will be fantastic, because it will just make you even more fit, right? So playing squash is very important to me. It keeps me in great shape. It's good for my social life. I get to travel, many, many positives. But the work outside of the court is equally, if not more important.
Yeah.
The time in the gym, you know, strengthening your joints, your tendons, your ligaments, everything like that, so you can handle the hard squash sessions. Doing enough flexibility work so that if you get into any compromised positions on the court, you're able to bear through it. You know, you have the flexibility to be able to handle those deep lunges and everything like that. You need to be doing the saunas regularly for heat conditioning, but also for recovery.
Yeah.
There's many things, you know, trigger balling, hips, stuff like that going, seeing massage therapists. The list goes on and on and on. Having a good diet, taking the right supplements. There's so much that goes on outside of the court as well as in the court.
Yeah.
And then to go even deeper into that, there's on-court and off-court work, and then there's your squash game, but then there's your inner squash game.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So your outer squash game is, you know, how I'm hitting the ball, my opponent, my tactics, you know, all the things in the physical world. But then the inner squash game is those emotions and the things that you're feeling and how you can keep those in check. And that is just as important as your outer game, because you can be the best in the training room, you can be hitting the best balls ever, but you get nervous before the game and it's toast. You know, you go all floppy and you can barely play. Right?
Yeah.
So that's when meditation, that's when yoga, that's when breath work, that's when manifestation or whatever it is that you do to ground yourself is so important. And then you be on your way to the flow state then, which is not something that I've necessarily achieved, but I've had flashes of being in the flow state, and it's something that I'm working towards, I would say. Yeah.
And I think that's what separates you from other coaches out there, where it's more holistic.
That's right.
You're talking about not just the physical aspect, but talking about the mindset.
Yes.
And the heart set.
Yes.
Which
doing the inner work.
The inner work. Yes. Which is, I guess, how I've always tried to look at things in everything I do, you know, not just the end results and the outcomes, the tangible outcomes, the physical output, but how am I feeling, you know?
Yes.
Am I feeling joy? Am I feeling happy?
Yeah.
Am I getting triggered? How am I reacting, you know, to those triggers? Am I still calm in a chaotic moment?
Yes.
You know, so I think that's what separates you from everyone else. You actually look into all aspects, you know, and like I would say if more professional athletes, NFL players, NHL players, NBA players and all of that learned meditation, learned breath work, you know, even though they think it's woo and a bit soft.
Yep.
UFC fighters, I think that will take them to the next level.
Yes.
You know, like I read a book about BJJ. Hoist Gracie wrote a book, The Art of Flow, Breath.
Yes.
And he said his secret weapon was not technique or his strength. It was learning how to control his breath.
Yes.
And how to remain calm in amidst of all the chaos going around him. He was working on the physical aspects, on the diaphragm and lung capacity, but he was also just the mental and emotional, not panicking. Had those crucial moments. And the book was fantastic. It was probably the fastest book I ever read.
Yep.
A BJJ, one of the legendary fighters in the world.
Yep.
Talking about how important breathwork was.
Yes.
You know,
absolutely.
and which is managing your emotions.
Yes, definitely.
No.
And managing your emotions and just building that mental strength and resilience.
Yeah.
And you ask anyone, any top athlete, and you say, what's the difference between top 20 in the world and top 1 in the world? And it's always mentality, right? It's just your beliefs, and how you can control your emotions, right?
Okay. Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
So what motivates you then? So we understand you love the sport, you're passionate about the sport. It's clearly not about the money.
Clearly.
So why? What's your goals? What motivates you? Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good question. So for me, for example, I run a junior academy. And we have all types of kids that go there. And from 5 years old to 18 years old is sort of the range of the juniors that we have. And I once heard a story from one of the juniors, and he said to me, we played T-ball today at school, which is like baseball, except you put the ball on top of a tee, and then you just hit it off the tee.
Yeah,
right?
gotcha.
And he was saying, we played T-ball today, and all the kids, they hit the ball, and then I hit it, And I hit it right out of the park. You know, he said, "Oh, because of all the squash training we're doing, you know, we're playing squash with such a small ball, but the baseball was so much bigger. I just sent it way further than any of the other kids could, you know." And hearing that made me very happy. I have another client who I coach, and she's a 60-year-old lady, and she cooks all these jams. And she was saying she has to carry these heavy pots as she's scraping fruit into another pot. And she was telling me that, this morning when I was lifting these pots, it was just that little bit easier, you know? I was just that little bit stronger. So you just hear these stories from people, instances where they're required to do physical things. And because of the training that I'm able to give to them, they're able to do those physical things a whole lot easier and better, right? And that just makes your life so much more satisfying, right? Okay. And hearing that from other people is amazing. And that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me motivated, is hearing that, because I want to hear more of that. I want to hear more instances where I've helped people do things better. Yeah.
Epic.
Yeah.
So do you see that you're going to be a coach for quite a long time? Is that, or like, the reason I bring up goals is because previously we were talking about how you wanted to rank even better.
Yes.
Right? Improve your world rankings, your Australia rankings, and considering the news about squash and Olympics, that was something you were aiming for. And is that still the case, or that's changed since we, because that was probably 3-4 months since we spoke about that last.
It's a good question. So when setting goals, there's different ranges of goals. There's short-term ones and long-term ones. So in terms of the short-term goals for the moment, and this is something that I'm writing in my manifestation book at the moment, I would like to win a PSA tournament, right?
Okay, for the viewers out there, what is a PSA tournament?
PSA stands for Professional Squash Association.
Gotcha.
Right? And they hold tournaments, and they range in value from $1,000 to $500,000, let's just say. And my goal, my short-term goal, is to win a PSA tournament of any kind.
And is that an Australian tournament or a world international tournament?
All PSA tournaments are international tournaments.
Okay, cool.
Yep. So I've made semi-finals, is probably about the furthest I've made in a PSA tournament, but I've never won one before. Okay. So that is my current main focus. That's at the front of my mind. That's what I write in my book every night. That's what I am manifesting and thinking when I'm breathing, when I'm meditating, that kind of thing, right?
Okay.
It's important to just have one of those, and make it achievable. Challenging, but achievable, right? And that's that one. In terms of longer term goals, so let's say a long term goal would be to make top 100 in the world. So I'm 409 at the moment. My highest is probably 378, something like that. I would like to make top 100 in the world. You know, it's something I've always said to myself when I first started playing, like that would just be amazing to be one of the best in the world. You know, there's only, I'm in that top of the top.
Yeah. How many? Okay, for reference sakes, how many squash players are registered in that league, as an example?
So the rankings go down to around about 1,000, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm like in the middle of the professional rankings.
Gotcha. So so just to give reference, like are there 10,000 people there, or is it
So there's obviously like 26 million squash players worldwide, but in terms of the ones who are registered for PSA, it's probably 1,000 or just over that.
Perfect. Yeah. And your goal is to be top 10%.
That's right. That's
Epic.
right. Yeah.
You have a time frame in mind or a target where you want to hit that by?
Yeah. So my goal for this year was to get top 250 in the world.
Okay.
I've played 6 tournaments so far, and I have another 4 coming up at the end of the year. So it's still possible if I have really good results for these next 4 tournaments. And then next year, I was planning to get into the top 200 from there. I guess the time frame is sort of this year trying to get into the top 250. I don't, you got to crawl before you can walk. I'm not sure on the time frame for top 100 yet. Just trying to work my way up incrementally. Yeah.
No, epic. Yeah. And talk to me about what we spoke about, 4 or 5 months ago when they were announcing, squash. Yeah. Entering the Olympics for the first time. I think it was LA coming up, or Brisbane, I'm not sure.
Correct. So it's, great news. Squash is in the LA 2028
So it Olympics. Is in the LA?
It is in the LA 2028 Olympics, cool. That's right. This is great news for the squash community, not just as a player, but as a coach. Squash has always been a Commonwealth sport, but not an Olympic sport, right?
That's so
mind-boggling.
weird. Hold on, you have breakdancing.
Yeah.
You have breakdancing in the Olympics, but all this time you've never had squash.
I know. It's crazy, and you normally tell someone that, and they're surprised that squash isn't actually in the Olympics. They're like, "Are you sure it's not in there?" I swear it is, because it's a Commonwealth sport. You have badminton, you have table tennis, you have tennis, but you don't have squash. You know, one of the world's healthiest sports, played on such an international stage. It's
And it's not a new sport.
it's
been
not a
around
new
for
sport.
ages.
Exactly, been around very long time.
So what?
Yeah.
Politics involved? I'm guessing, or
Must be something like that. Yeah,
Gotcha.
the reasoning, I think, in the past is one, that it's not that spectator friendly, which is not true now that we have all glass courts.
Yeah, I've seen those on Facebook and everything like that.
Exactly. So it is very spectator friendly. You can have thousands of people sitting around a glass court, and the glass court can be built within like 48 hours, and it can be put in front of the pyramids. It can be put in wonderful locations. So it's very spectator friendly now. And the other thing was that squash was maybe not a growing sport. That's what they feared, that it was a dying sport.
The popularity of the sport.
Exactly, and that the numbers were maybe decreasing. I don't think that is true anymore. The numbers of squash is now increasing. So it's good, and the Olympic recognition is a big helper for that. So
squash is getting sexy again.
exactly. Yeah, we're bringing squash back. I personally believe it's the most undervalued sport in the world.
Look, I have to agree in a certain sense that the intensity, the duration, the value for money, the workout you get in such a short amount of time is next level. Next level, and that's why I enjoy it so much.
That's right.
But I think it is underappreciated.
That's right. And you can look at it in many different terms. Like, you look at the calories aspect. Squash burns more calories than running, swimming, cycling, anything, any of these normal exercise that you see most people do, it burns more calories, right? You look at it in terms of the social aspects, far more social than cycling, running, swimming, anything like that. There's just so many factors that make squash very good for you. As I mentioned earlier, it's good for the brain because of that fast decision making that you have to do. It's the same in tennis, but people who play racket sports generally live 9 years longer than people who don't.
Gotcha.
Right? And that's because of the physical benefits, but also the benefits of the brain.
Yeah.
And it's good for the vision too, or the ball tracking of the small ball. The list just goes on. And this is why squash was named by Forbes magazine as the world's healthiest sport. Right, and this is any squash player that's watching is probably cringing because they've heard that 100 million times.
Yeah.
This is a very old article that I'm referencing, but it still holds up.
Yeah.
Right, and what they were saying in that article is that squash has a very high amount of calories burned, but a very low risk of injury.
Yeah.
So you get something like boxing, and that burns like lots and lots of calories, but then you get punched in the face. Right, squash is good for burning calories without the risk of injury.
Face.
Right,
Yeah.
so it puts stresses on there. Up there with sports like rowing, as I said earlier. So you get a really intense workout, but the risk is not there. So that's why it coined that term, the world's healthiest sport.
Yeah.
But you see things that are healthy and generally not the most popular. Like, as unfortunate as it is, things that are bad for you generally get very popular very fast, or they're not that great for you, or they're easy to do, they're easy to start, like pickleball,
Oh, don't get me started on pickleball. Yeah.
But squash is very difficult and very good for you, and generally, people get turned off by that.
Yeah.
But if you can be persistent and you can get good at it, the health benefits are endless.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And for me, I think I pick up also on the agility of the sport. You have to be super agile.
Yes.
Yeah. And I feel that my reflexes have improved.
Yes.
Over time, because you have to be quick. Get the ball.
Yep.
Bang, go to the tee,
Definitely.
Speaking of pickleball, what are your thoughts on pickleball?
Yeah, so it's...
Look, controversial here.
I have mixed thoughts on pickleball. So let's start with the positives, right? So for people who are maybe older, maybe in their 80s and 90s, they're not too mobile, maybe they've come back from multiple surgeries, things like that, I think it's fantastic because it gets them out of the house, social, they still get a good sweat up, you play doubles, you don't have to move that much, but you're still hitting the ball, it's still good for hand-eye coordination. it's good in that regard. So for certain people in certain situations, I think it's really, really good. Where it's not so good is for people who are well-abled and they're young and they're fit and they're strong. It's just not enough of a challenge, right? And you can play for 2 hours and you'll get as much calories burned as playing 1 hour of squash, right? So it's just not great value for your time. You're going to end up playing a lot. So if you're looking for something that's going to get you in shape, that's going to make your mind sharp, build mental resilience, all of these kind of things, then you want to play squash. You want to do something difficult. If you're looking to pass a bit of time, have a bit of fun with your friends, you know, learn some light skills, then I'd go for pickleball, right? So that was a nice way of saying, if you're not good enough to play squash, then you should try pickleball. But if you've got good coordination, good speed, you're light on your feet, you're not overweight, then you should probably do the more difficult thing to get more benefits. That's what I think. But also, I say difficult, and it's not that difficult once you get into it. Once you enjoy it and you start moving, it doesn't seem that difficult, right? It's actually quite fun.
Yeah, no, I agree there. Do you think pickleball could serve as sort of like a gateway, an entry point for people to go, hey, you know, I'm enjoying this, but I need more, so let me, you know, try another racket sport?
I think so. And I do know quite a few players who play squash and they play pickleball.
Yeah.
I just stay away from pickleball because it's one of those sports where you can be good at straight away, you know, and that's what ties people into it. You're in your first session, you can play, you can have long rallies, oh, you're as good as your friend, oh, that kind of thing. And it sort of fits into the society that we're in nowadays, the lowest tension span, want to be good at everything straight away kind of thing. So yeah, it can promote maybe being lazy. You know,
it's gonna be controversial.
Yeah, that's very, very controversial. You know, and again, I don't want to say that because it's very good for certain people who don't have the joints, don't have the mobility to be able to play squash. It's just if someone's looking to get active and someone's looking to get into a sport, I probably wouldn't recommend pickleball unless under certain circumstances.
Look, I think it serves its purpose for a certain market. It's definitely a very, very social sport where you can have a few beers and still play pickleball.
Racket in the one hand, beer in the other. I love it. I love it.
It's probably not an intensive sport. Like if someone wants to really train hard, then look for squash or other things. So, because I had the same experience. I tried pickleball once. I said, "Fuck, this is easy, man." Bang, bang, you know, like I was loving it, right?
Yeah.
But I just didn't feel like I got a good enough workout. I didn't feel like I was getting an ROI on my time spent.
Yeah.
But I was looking for a sweat. I was looking for a workout. As a social thing, when I was playing with my uncle in the Philippines, we had a great time, met some people and all of that. So I think, what do you say? Horses for courses.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So. But I think for an elite athlete at your level, I don't think it will serve a purpose for you. No, I don't. The time that you would rather, that you'd spend, pickleballing, you're better off, going to the sauna.
That's right.
Getting flexible, working out, and all that.
Although if I was sore, very sore, some light movement, light pickleball is active recovery. Could be good. And that's what I mean. Certain things, certain situations, it is good. But in terms of training to increase your physical fitness, probably not the best.
Yeah. Gotcha. And speaking about your training, so you train in the morning, you say?
Yes.
Do you have training partners? Do you have a coach that pushes you? So talk to me about that.
Yeah. So as a squash player, I play at lots of different clubs.
Okay.
And that's the nature of being a squash player. You got to travel generally to find good hitting partners and coaches and things like that. So I have a club at which I coach, and that's where I run my junior academy. That's where I work with my personal clients one-on-one. That's where I coach you. And then I have other centers that I travel to train with other people. I will attend group sessions with a coach, and occasionally I will get private sessions for myself. And I have to travel generally half an hour, 45 minutes to a different center in order to get my own training and my own coaching. Yeah.
And every day?
So it depends on the day. So one day I might organize for a hitting partner to come to my club and train with me.
Gotcha.
The next day I might travel to go and train with a coach. You know, it just depends on the day.
Yeah.
But I'll either travel somewhere to go and hit with someone, or someone will travel to come and hit with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then if neither of those things is viable, then I'll just train myself. I'll do solo practice. And then there's certain off-court things that are done as well, like different sprint drills or plyometric work or gym work and things like that. And I could generally do that by myself as well.
Yeah, gotcha. So now I guess we spoke about the physical aspect of your training, but as you touched on it earlier, the mindset and managing the emotions is equally, if not more important than that as well.
Yes.
So what do you do for that?
Yes. So multiple things. I would say it's a combination of meditation
Okay.
and yoga and breath work.
Okay.
Right? So it's not one, it's not the other, it's all three.
Is it a daily thing every day or?
It's not a daily thing every day. However, it is most days.
Okay.
And it's not most days that I do all three. It's just most days that I'll do at least one of the three. And on days of tournaments or matches or things like that, I'll generally try to do all three.
Okay.
Right? And it's not a crazy extensive thing. It doesn't take a long time. I just do it in short bursts. Right?
Okay. Can you go into detail a bit more?
So for example, on any day that I'm required to play a match, I will make sure that I do at least 10 to 15 minutes of yoga on that day. Preferably, I do it an hour, 2 hours before the match. That would be ideal. But if not, just do it on the same day as a match. And what I do is I have an app on my phone. It's called Down Dog, and it generates a yoga practice for me. I just type in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, put it down, and I follow that yoga. It's kind of like a guided yoga. And I just think this is immensely important for not just flexibility, but blood flow and just getting in the right mental space, right? And so the app is telling me when to breathe in, when to breathe out, what position to do, how long to hold it for.
Yeah.
And so you just let go of like needing to be in control, right? For 10, 15 minutes, and you just follow the practice, right? And then you just calm down through breathing, through stretching, holding, changing positions, different things. You calm down your body and your nervous system, right? So that's very important. And that's just to be done on the day of competing. Could be right before the match, could be the morning of. Secondly, the breath work, that's generally done right before the match.
Okay.
Right? And I'll do some form of like box breathing or something like that. Where it's
So
like,
slow breathing.
Exactly. Like you count 5 seconds in, hold 5 seconds, 5 seconds out, hold 5 seconds. Something like that. Just to calm the mind, but just get focused, right? Because before a match, your mind wants to wander. It wants to think about, oh, what's my opponent doing? Oh, how good is he? Or I wonder if I'll play well, or this, that. But if you just have an anchor, which is the breath, and you just focus on 5 seconds in, hold 5 seconds, 5 seconds out, hold 5 seconds, you'll get a lot more calm and a lot more focused.
Yeah.
So that's good. And then meditation.
So how long you do the breath work for?
Breath work for generally about 5 to 10 minutes.
Gotcha.
Right?
So you're centering yourself, you're grounding yourself. Yep.
Exactly. Don't want to overdo it.
Helping you get into that flow state in the match. Yeah.
Exactly. And then meditation as well. So what I do is, I call it manifestation, right? But in essence, it is meditation. And what I do is I get my manifestation book and I write down whatever current goal I'm working on. And as I said earlier, that's to win a professional squash tournament. So I write down 5 times. I won a professional squash tournament. And of course,
you write it in the past tense.
Exactly. That was advice from you. Yes. Write it in the past tense as if it's already happened, right? And then I count down from 60 to 0 in breaths. So I close my eyes and I breathe in and out 60, in and out 59. And I count from 60 to 0 to get my mind in a place of calm. And then I manifest the outcome that I just wrote down, right? And try to do it in as much detail as possible, meaning not just the detail of the situation, but if I won a professional squash tournament, how would my mother react if I told her? How would I feel when I saw her reaction? You know, those kind of things. That's how you want to manifest those little details, those parts that are really going to mean the world to you.
So you visualize.
Exactly,
Yeah.
visualize and feel as if it's already happened.
Yeah.
And that's sort of my protocol at the moment to get into that flow state.
Yeah, epic. And how we spoke about what your goals are, and we spoke about how you're feeling when you're coaching, and the beautiful feedback that you get from them, and that's what drives you forward. Yeah.
Yes.
I guess the question I have is, what does success look like for you? So, we have these short-term goals. You have these. Did we circle back? What happened to the Olympics? We didn't go back and talk about the Olympics, did we?
Oh no, we didn't. Yeah, we sort of left that one.
So let's go. So I want to know what success looks like to you. But let's go back to the Olympics, because we were talking about how we derailed a bit. We were saying we were getting squash, bringing the sexy back.
Yep. Yeah. That's right. So what we talked about short-term goals and then longer-term goals.
This can all be edited anyways.
And I talked about top 100.
Yeah.
And then the really long-term goal, this is what I would describe as a dream, right? And that's the Brisbane 2032 Olympics.
Okay.
Right?
Have they announced it? Is it going to happen?
Squash is not confirmed in the Brisbane 2032 Olympics, right? The Olympics is definitely going to be in Brisbane, but squash is not officially included yet, right? So we still need to wait on that. However, that would be great if it was to be included.
That would be awesomeness.
Yes.
Right? Your hometown, Brisbane.
Yes.
Squash in Brisbane.
Yes.
For you, I mean, would you consider yourself already successful just being in the Olympics? Or is like medal is what you want to achieve?
Yeah. So that's linking into what my definition of success is, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of success, especially as an athlete, the thing is wherever you go, the goalposts always move, right? It's not just in being an athlete, it's every aspect of life.
It's in business, it's in everything. Yeah.
Exactly. So when I first started and I was 14 years old and I would see certain people play, I would be thinking, man, I wish I could just be as good as them. That would be fantastic. All I want is just to be as good as them. And then within a year, I was beating those people, right? Okay. And then the goalposts move and then, I just want to be a professional, right? I just want to have a number next to my name, a world ranking, right? And then you get that world ranking and, but I'm 800, right? There's so many people who are better than me. And then you get to 400 and then you want to get to 100. So the goalposts are always moving and you got to be wary of that. So I'm quite happy. Like my definition of success is my health, right? Is having good health, is having good sleep, is being injury-free, having a good relationship, eating the right foods, and enjoying my squash, right? That's how I measure my success, right? If I'm on court and I'm like, I feel tired, I don't want to be here, that kind of thing, then that's unsuccessful to me. Of course, it's going to happen in certain times, but the more healthy I am, the more I'm enjoying my squash, and that's how I judge my success, right? And I believe that is the best way to get into the flow state, because the flow state isn't always winning, right? That's not what the flow state is. It's enjoying it to your full capacity, is experiencing it as if you're not even there, right? You're just going through the motions, you're being taken away by the wind, That's how the flow state is, right? And whether you win or lose, you don't care, you're not even aware, you're just playing, right? And so that is success for me, not some number, not some ranking, not some result, some tournament, some this, some that. Of course, it's important to have goals, but my number one goal is my health, right? So, and that's my definition of success.
Okay. So by your own definition, would you say that you are already successful?
I would. And the thing is that I've learned over the years is that you can want to be better than you are now and also be happy with where you are. The two aren't exclusive, right? I used to think they weren't. Like, if I want to go here and achieve this, then I can't be happy right now because I haven't achieved it. But that's not true. I can be happy with what I have with my health now and still be wanting to achieve more at the same time.
Yeah. No, and once again, I think that's what separates you from the rest of the pack out there, not only in coaching, but as a general 26-year-old having that perspective of life. I certainly didn't. I probably, things clicked with me over on the last 5 years where I went, okay, what's my definition of success? What does happiness look like for me? And you've already, you've really looked deep within and answered those questions for yourself at the age of 26, which blows me away. And I think that's why we connected so well. I feel like in the emotional maturity and the spiritual maturity, you're like 50, in that sense. You're not a 26-year-old kid, right? Speaking of your spiritual background and how you get, like, how did you discover that aspect about yourself, or the entering into meditation or breath work, or should we,
Yeah, well, I have to give credit where credit is due, right? And seeing as you've steered the conversation in a certain way, I'll oblige. But yeah, so plant medicine is the answer, right?
So that was your first. That was the first thing.
That is correct. Without the introduction to plant medicine, I would not have come up with a lot of things that I've come up with in terms of mindset, in terms of discipline, in terms of any area of my life. I was definitely helped with plant medicine to give me a different perspective on life.
Yeah.
Something that I would not have gained without it. I could have gained it without it, right? It's definitely possible, but it helped me gain it a lot faster.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because my life's changed with plant medicine.
Exactly.
But that was only recent.
Yeah.
And when did you start your journey with the medicines?
I started at 18.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And
hold on. You started 18, but was it knowingly because of the spiritual benefits it had, or was it more of a fun thing that then opened up the whole other avenue, and the realizations came later on? But
it was definitely the second one. Yeah. So I just wanted to party, like any 18-year-old. I just want to party, I just want to drink, whatever. But then, you get introduced, why don't you try this? Why don't you try a little bit of mushrooms? Why don't you try a little bit of LSD? And, yeah, sure, this will get me high, I'll party on it, whatever. And you have it with the intention to party. However, it has a completely different experience. You start to be
for some people.
Exactly.
For some people, because I think there are a lot of 18-year-olds out there who have who are in the wrong set and setting.
True.
And they will never discover the spiritual benefits of these medicines.
It's very true.
So I think you're one of the lucky ones in that sense, right?
Yes, that's very true. I hear a lot of people and they're like, I had 10 beers and I was out with people I barely knew, and then I had some LSD and it was a terrible time. And I'm like, oh, really? It was a terrible time? Like, of course it is. Like, you need to be in a good setting. You need to be with people that you're comfortable with, and you need to be in a good state of mind, right? And I was lucky that when I was introduced to it, I had all of these things. I was with people I cared about. I was in a good place in my life, and I didn't have too much either. I wasn't given too much. So you're right. I'm lucky that it was introduced to me in the right way.
In the right way.
So that I could integrate it properly, and that's not the case for a lot of people. So yeah, that's definitely lucky. And it's one of those things where I think it just has such benefits on not just your mind, but your body. Like, I'm very into going to ayahuasca retreats. I very much enjoy it, going for the weekend, drinking ayahuasca. It's good for your gut. It's good for your mind. And it actually builds serotonin in your gut, right? So you wake up the next day feeling happy and you feel energetic and things like that. And it's just a good release of trauma, right? So anyone going throughout their lives, you experience things that, builds trauma. It builds things in your subconscious that get stored over time. And when you do this plant medicine, it releases them from your subconscious, and you feel lighter, right? So it's called medicine for a reason, and it's not necessarily medicine for physical ailments, but mental ones, subconscious ones. And that's some of the most powerful healing you can do.
But which can also lead to the release of physical ailments as well.
Definitely can, yeah.
And that's why I thought you'd be the perfect guest for this podcast, because I think there's the ethos of this podcast: inhale to excel. It's mastering your inner world will lead to conquering your outer world.
Yes.
And it's as simple as breathing, exploring, journaling, exploring within, asking the right questions and finding the right solutions, finding your healing.
Yes.
And this has led you down that path where you're able to integrate it
Yes.
with what you do.
Yes.
Do you feel though any negative physical aspects? Does it help or hinder when you actually play the sport, these medicines?
Yeah, so I would say it would hinder my sport if I was to do it too close to competing.
Gotcha.
Right? It's on the other end of competing. When you're competing, you want to be, you want to have certain feelings of anxiety and things like that to keep you focused, to keep you in the moment. When you do the plant medicine, you want to, really open up and release certain things. So it's just a different state. You're in a completely different state when you're competing to when you're healing or doing plant medicine.
That's a good way.
Yeah.
There's a time to compete, there's a time to heal. So whether
That's
you're competing or whether you're healing.
Exactly. So in terms of the recovery aspects on days that I have light activity planned, it's fantastic. Do some mushrooms, do a little microdose, get into the flow state, wonderful. And when you're competing, you want to be focused and dialed in.
Yeah, gotcha. You want to be sharp.
Yes.
Not like the plant medicines, like mushrooms enhance cognitive ability, neuroplasticity, neurogenesis, so that it doesn't take away from the sharpness, but you just want to be laser focused. You don't want to be too much into that state where you're, I guess, much more aware of the feelings and everything.
Yes.
You just,
and you want to be in the most familiar state to yourself as well. Mushrooms, although it may enhance you, it's not a familiar state.
Yeah,
not something I'm in very often.
It opens up everything. It opens up all your feelings too much sometimes.
Yeah.
And you go, okay, I'm not grounded. I'm not centered.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
No, far out. Man, your journey for a 26-year-old is light years ahead of most 26-year-olds out there, and what you've accomplished as well. You must be very proud of yourself.
Yeah, I'm definitely happy. Yeah. I think there's so much more to learn. There's always so much more to learn. And so, I try not to look backwards too much. It's always nice to reflect and be happy. I have my sights set on the future though. I'm very, I have a lot to look forward to for sure. Yeah.
No, well, buddy, I big fan of yours already, right?
Good.
I wish you all the success for your PSA tournament, but the if it does happen in Brisbane,
yes,
what a momentous event would that be?
Yes,
your favorite, the sport that you're so passionate about, the sport that you're amazing at, having its Olympic, debut or the Olympic shot here in Brisbane, right?
Yes,
that would be incredible.
Yeah, it would.
So I guess manifest the shit out of that.
Yep.
So it does happen. So squash gets into the Brisbane Olympics, and you get to be in the Olympics.
Yep.
And that would just be taking your credibility to the next level, right?
That's right.
From a coaching perspective as well, and maybe sponsorships and things like that.
Yes, absolutely. As I grow as a player, I grow as a coach as well.
Yeah.
The more I learn, the better I am at teaching.
Yeah.
And it's all that process. Is I want to win a PSA tournament. And I want to get top 100, and then because of that, I want to make it into the Olympics. That's the dream, right? And that's what I fight for every day. So,
you know what? Just reminding me, there's probably a couple things you can do to inch or get one step closer to that dream. A couple pieces of the puzzle I think you're missing.
Okay, all right. Bring it on.
Because you haven't attended a breathwork class of mine yet, have you, my friend?
You got me.
And you shy away from ice baths as well, right?
Yeah, no, you got me.
Those are going to be really good for you, right?
Yep, no, it's true. It's I'm not good at everything, right? And cold plunging is very scary. It's very scary. I have done it once in 12-degree water.
Yeah.
But not the 2-3 degree
But see, that's just
stuff.
fear talking to you, right?
Yeah, yep.
If a 50-year-old woman in one of my sessions can do it,
you
are super athlete, Caleb Johnson, right? It's more of a mindset thing, right?
Yeah,
it's not physically.
It is.
It's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
But you do know that it's going to improve you're physically, recovery, blood circulation, releasing all the dopamine.
Yep.
All of that will take, giving you clarity, focus, building that resilience, as you call it. That will take it to the next level. So it's good for you.
Yeah, no,
So I'm just waiting for the call where, you actually jump in and do it. Yeah.
Fair enough.
But maybe that will get you, even if it increases your chance of getting to live at 1% because of all of those benefits.
Yeah.
I would suggest you give that a crack.
Yeah.
And the breath work, like you said, it already makes you feel lighter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So I reckon.
Luckily, I know a guy. This breathwork warrior guy is pretty good, apparently.
Well, you haven't shown up yet. But I mean, jokes aside, but I mean, wishing you all the best, and I think you're on the right path and right trajectory, and I just can't. And for being someone, 26 years old, man, being almost double your age, I'm really excited to see what the next 10 years look like for you, how it unfolds for you, because I think you're a shooting star, and that's why I wanted to have you here.
Yeah.
Because I think you've got so much potential, and it's just going to go better and better, bigger and bigger every year.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So I'm excited for you, buddy.
Thank you.
In 10 years time, I'm going to try to get you back on this podcast, right? We'll get sooner, but you might be so popular you won't even have time, right? Yeah, and you look back and say when we were sitting on Vish's couch, talking shit.
Yep, that's right. I better get into these breathworks while I have time. Yeah. Before I take off.
No, well, buddy, thank you very much. Pleasure having you here.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah, no, it was good. There's a lot of things I didn't even know. So yeah, and I think there's going to be a lot of things which you shared, which people find fascinating, and hopefully, not only about how they should give squash a go, because you sold it really well, right? But there are a lot of things that you do in your day-to-day life just to better yourself, to improve yourself. So if they can even take 1% of that, I think they'll add value. Yeah. Is there any last message you'd like to give to the audience? If there's any parting words or anything, one key takeaway you might have for them?
Yeah, I would just say that the most important thing is that you enjoy what you're doing. Right. So a lot of people ask me for advice, and they say, "Oh, Caleb, what should I do in the gym? Oh, what stretches should I do? Oh, what should I do?" And the reality is, I could give you the best fitness program ever, the best diet plan from the best nutritionist, the best fitness program from the best personal trainer, and you're probably not going to do any of it, right? Because you don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to find something that you enjoy. That might be walking, that might be cycling, it might be skipping. Might be doing cartwheels, might be pickleball, I don't know what it is, but it's that enjoyment of it that is going to lead to the snowball effect. And and just like me in squash, I really enjoy it, and I want to play well, so I better get to bed early. I want to play well, so I better eat healthy, right? So you find something you love doing, and then it will give you motivation and reasons to get better at it. And in getting better at it will reinforce good behaviors. Right?
Yeah, the other parts of your life just lift up as well.
Exactly. But it all starts with love.
Epic, buddy. Mate, thank you again for your time.
No worries.
I'm sure we're going to be doing this again in the future.
Excellent.
But catch you next week for
right.
that lesson. Thanks, mate. And it's a wrap.
Done.